who's actually going to get the most out of a high-tech massage chair that also doubles as a gaming cockpit, and who's better off putting their money into a traditional recliner or a separate gaming chair? Is the Ycloroet T2 zero-gravity model worth the price tag for someone who just wants a little back relief after work, or does it belong in the living room of a serious gamer who spends hours in front of a 49-inch ultra-wide monitor? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you've ever tried a cheaper massage chair that promised deep tissue but left you feeling like you just sat on a plastic lawn chair, you know the hesitation that comes with a purchase like this. The biggest risk is ending up with a unit that looks impressive on paper but feels like a glorified seat that never quite hits the right pressure points, or that takes up half the room without delivering the promised zero-gravity experience. On the other hand, if you're the type who spends long stretches on a desk, gaming marathons, or even just binge-watching with the lights dimmed, the idea of a chair that can tilt you into a weightless position while you soak in a full-body massage sounds like a game-changer. That tension between hope and doubt is exactly why I dug into how the T2 actually performs in real-world scenarios before pressing record. Let's start with the core promise, a 160-degree zero-gravity recline. In theory, that angle should lift your spine and evenly spread your weight, taking pressure off the lumbar area and mimicking the feeling you get in a professional spa recliner. I tested that by setting the chair up in my home office, which has just enough space to fit a large chair but not a full massage studio. The recline mechanism was smooth, and the chair settled into the near horizontal position without the clunk you hear in cheaper models. Because the tilt is motorized and controlled by a single joystick, you don't have to wrestle with a complicated menu. A simple push forward or backward does the work. That simplicity matters when you're in the middle of a gaming session and don't want to pause to navigate a touchscreen. Fit is another practical concern. The Ycloroet is built to accommodate a range of body types, but the real test is whether the massage rollers actually line up with the user's shoulders, lower back, and thighs. I'm a 6'2" person at 210 pounds. And the chair's seat width and depth gave me enough room to stretch without feeling cramped. The rollers reached my upper back and glutes without needing to shift my position, which is a subtle but important win over many entry-level chairs that force you to hunch or lean forward to feel any benefit. If you're on the shorter side, the chair still offers a decent fit, though the lower back rollers sit a little higher, meaning you might miss a bit of that deep lumbar work. In short, tall users will feel fully covered. Average height users will get most of the benefits, while shorter folks might want to test the chair in store if possible. Massage intensity and pattern variety are the heart of any chair's value proposition. The T2 offers a few preset programs that cycle through kneading, tapping, and rolling motions. The intensity can be dialed up, and the motors are surprisingly quiet. You won't hear the kind of whine that makes you think the device is straining. I set it to a medium-strong level during a back-to-back gaming marathon and found the rhythm steady enough to stay focused on the screen, yet strong enough to actually loosen the knots that built up after a few hours. The chair doesn't claim to replace a professional therapist, but for someone who normally spends $80 $100 per session at a spa, the ability to get a comparable release a few times a week can add up financially. The downside is the lack of highly customizable node placement. You can't manually adjust the rollers to target a specific sore spot, so if you have a chronic issue in a precise location, you may still need occasional professional treatment. Noise is often an overlooked factor, but it matters when you're trying to stay immersed in a game or a movie. The motor that drives the recline and the massage rollers operate at a low hum, roughly comparable to a quiet refrigerator. In my apartment, the sound never rose above background TV noise, and I could still hear subtle game audio cues without having to raise the volume. However, the chair does emit a faint mechanical whir when shifting between programs, which could be noticeable in a very quiet environment like a home theater during a suspenseful scene. Footprint and setup are practical concerns for anyone who doesn't have a dedicated game room. The T2 takes up roughly the space of a standard recliner plus a small console table, so you'll need at least a 5x7 foot area free of obstacles. The assembly required attaching the base, plugging in the power cord, and calibrating the joystick, which took about 30 minutes with the instructions. There's no need for a professional installer.